Okay, so we have about 26 attendees as of now. I think that's good enough a number to begin with. We should be going up to about 70, 80 attendees during the course of the webinar. As I mentioned right in the beginning, this is a Solar Connect launch special webinar wherein we'll be also introducing the new suite of services that Easy Solar has just launched, which is Solar Connect, connecting rooftop owners with solar installers. A little bit about myself. My name is Puneet Singh Jaggi. I have been an advisor to about 2 gigawatts of solar power projects set up in the country for project owners, lenders, EPC installers, and so on. Within rooftop in particular, I had an experience of about 15 odd megawatts of execution. So, safe to say that in selling about 100, rooftop systems in the past, we acquired some skill or we acquired some understanding on how exactly to sell a solar power system. I hope to impart some of that understanding along with some shameless marketing of Solar Connect on the way. Please bear with me. My email ID and my phone number is given on the screen. You're free to please give me a call or drop me an email anytime that you want. To just give you a little bit background of Easy Solar, we started last year, about a year back, and since then we have been on a mission to make it easier for people to go solar. We started with solar design, wherein you could design a solar power system online. What I mean by that is that you could order an energy assessment report or a layout of any kind of rooftop by just a couple of clicks using solar design services at easysolar.com. Next, we launched Solar Cart, which is about an online marketplace for solar products. So you could buy a module, inverter, structures, cables, junction boxes, anything that practically goes into a solar power plant can be bought online as well at negotiated prices delivered to the doorstep without any regulatory hassles. The last, which is Solar Connect, is about giving access to verified solar installers and verified roof owners to contact details of each other. I'll just talk about a little more about it in a minute. So, as I said, Solar Connect is about connecting installers with roof owners. For installers, the process is pretty simple. You can go to solarconnect.easysolar.com. You could search for leads in your vicinity. Say, if I'm an installer based in Ahmedabad, I could search for Ahmedabad, I could search for the kind of system, and I could search for the capacity of the system. On hitting search, the website would present me with all the live tenders and all the live leads in my area. The leads would already have an energy assessment report and a solar project layout so that will make your decision making easy. You don't have to pay a penny to be able to access this amount of information. However, if you're still interested in the lead, you can buy the contact information of the lead and start getting in touch with the owner of the roof and possibly close the deal as well. Solar Connect was launched only yesterday, so there's still a little amount of leads and a little amount of solar installers which are listed. We hope to significantly increase the number in the coming days. We hope a lot of cooperation from your end. For roof owners, it's a little different. If you are a roof owner and you want to post your requirement for solar installers to get in touch with you give your contact details, you give the location and building details, which is your coordinates of the building, the kind of building that you are. Are you having a shed on which a solar system needs to be installed, or are you having a RCC roof or a superstructure? Then you give your solar and electrical details, which is the kind of system that you want, an on-grid, an off-grid, hybrid, or you can also say that you want the bill is so much and your expectation is to reduce the bill by so much, etc. Lastly, you can also talk about your preferences in terms of equipment, in terms of contractors. You could also search for solar installers in your area to get in touch with them directly on the website. So all of this is possible at solarconnect.easysolar.com. Uh, with respect to questions that you might have during the webinar, I request you to there would be a panel that you see on the right hand side of your screen. Within that panel, there is a questions tab. So, in case there are any doubts that you might have, you could type into the questions tab, and I'll be happy to get to them at the end of the webinar. This is going to be a short 20-25 minutes webinar with about 5, 10, 15 minutes left for question and answers in the end. Would be happy to help anybody. To give a little bit of the background of solar, probably most of you are already well aware about it, but with the declining costs and supporting government policies, a Bridge to India study actually claims that 19 states in India have already reached grid parity for commercial consumers. What I mean by that is that it is cheaper for people to get electricity from solar power plant in 19 states than to get it from the grid sources. Similarly, for industrial consumers, it is cheaper in 17 states to actually go for solar in comparison to buying electricity from the grid. To top it all, the government has set up a large target of 40,000 megawatts of solar power installed only on rooftops. The global government, the Indian government target is actually 100 gigawatts, but out of that 100 gigawatts, 60 gigawatts is meant for large scale utility scale power plants, and 40 gigawatts is only and only meant for rooftop solar power plants. If I have to draw this line out to the next 6 years, which is the government target, this basically means a conversion of about 25,000 crore rupees of business every year for the next 6 years in rooftop solar alone. So it is safe to say that it is a very, very large market that we are dealing with, and hence it would be only natural that people would actually want to go solar. Moving on, why is rooftop solar actually so good? Why is government setting up such large targets? The obvious reason is number one, the generation is at the point of consumption, which means that for a coal-fired power plant to deliver electricity to your household, it actually loses about 30% of its power in distribution, transmission, and theft losses. In case of a solar power plant, the power plant is right on the top of your roof, which means that there is nothing that is lost by way of distribution, transmission, and theft losses. The second point is that it reduces the ever increasing cost of grid power. According to the most conservative estimates by KPMG and others, 3 to 5% is the rate at which the cost of grid power is actually going to go up, whereas the solar power is expected to actually go down. The third reason is that it is modular in nature. What this means is that you could build a 1 kilowatt or a 10 kilowatt or a 100 kilowatt or a 1 megawatt system, and it is only going to be about adding panels and inverters without much change to the fundamental design of the system. It's easy to build a system up to or to build it down. Considering all of this, this is the slide that I've taken from SECI's presentation, Solar Energy Corporation of India's presentation from last week. Out of the 175 gigawatt target of renewable energy, 100 gigawatts is solar alone. So you could imagine the trust that the government is putting in this technology. But in spite of all this trust, I would like to get to a point of why this is not as accepted. This is a chart again taken from the SECI presentation, wherein we see that India has the least acceptance of rooftop solar power plants amongst the six largest solar contributors. Germany, obviously, is at a very, very high level. Japan, I could still understand because there's less ground mounted area available, so rooftop is the logical conclusion. But even in a large country like China, the penetration of rooftop solar is higher than that in India. My reasons for people not going solar is cost, reliability, complexity, and inertia. We'll get to all of these four reasons in a while and also talk about what we could do in order to be able to sell in spite of these excuses that customers give for not going solar. Let me talk about the first excuse that people give, that it is costly to go solar. This that you see on the slide is a simple calculation of what is the maths behind going solar and how profitable is it to go solar. If I take a 250 kilowatt power plant, 1 kilowatt typically costs about 62,000 rupees, give or take a couple of thousand. which would mean that one power plant of 250 kilowatts would actually cost about 1.55 crores. There is a benefit of accelerated depreciation that industries and commercial consumers are able to claim, which reduces the cost of the system by about 22 to 23%. This is a tax benefit which is applicable to large organizations or any profit making organizations. If you look at the generation from the 250 kilowatt power plant, it's about 4 lakh units in a year. This is a conservative estimate again. At a tariff average of about 7 rupees per unit, which is again a median or low tariff for an industrial or a commercial consumer, your savings is 7 lakhs, it is 4 lakhs into 7 rupees, about 28 lakhs a year. On the higher side, if I am to assume the operation maintenance expense, including insurance and security, to be about 2 lakhs for the 250 kilowatt system, my payback still comes to be about 4.6 years. It's simple maths. 155 is my cost, 28 lakhs is my savings. I deduct 2 lakh rupee expense for that, 26 lakhs is my net savings. 155 divided by 26 is about 4.6 years if I take into account accelerated depreciation benefit. If I don't, then it's about 6 years. In any case, solar is giving a return in excess of about 20 to 25%. The reason for that is that if you're taking accelerated depreciation, bulk of the benefit would come in the first year itself. Over here, I have not even considered the fact that the grid tariff keeps on increasing every year. So the 7 rupees would be 7.5 rupees, would be 8 rupees, and so on in the coming years. So the fact that solar is costly is really an excuse. It's not really costly. It's not the high cost that drives people away, it's the high upfront cost that drives people away. My point is that it's not so much about the maths of solar not being in favor of people going solar. It's the very large upfront cost that people cannot budget for immediately that prevents people from going solar. What are the possible solutions for this? Number one, the most obvious, the government policies. If the government makes loans available at a lower lending rate, obviously there'll be a larger adoption of solar. To this extent, a few months back, the government has already announced preferential lending rates for solar. Second is obviously accelerated depreciation, which is a tax benefit which people have been using for quite some time now. But these tax benefits are expected to finish in March 2017. The second solution to this is offering BOOT model. BOOT is build, own, operate, and transfer model, where an investor, a third party, would invest money in a solar power plant installed on somebody else's roof in return of a part of the savings that the person is getting as a part of reduction of their electricity bill. The last and probably the most simplest to understand is equipment being bought on easy monthly installments. I'm sure there are other alternatives available for this, but even at Easy Solar, in the solar card, anybody could now order a module, an inverter, a structure using simple EMI by these five banks using the Paytm integration that we already have. So these are some of the solutions which would help ease out the cost of high upfront cost by having them to pay in either monthly installments or yearly installments or profit sharing basis with the investors. Even at Easy Solar, we are making all attempts to get rooftop financing on our platform as well, which will make it further easier for people to access financing and go solar. Coming to the second excuse, that solar is not reliable. These are some of the typical questions that we get from people. What will happen when it's raining? The generation will go down. Will I have to switch down my systems? Will I have to increase my consumption or reduce my consumption? What will happen on Sundays when there is no load? Where will all the solar power go? What will happen to my air conditioning or motors or other heavy appliances that I have? Would they run on solar? And my personal favorite, the last one, won't the panel break if the monkeys jump on my panels? All of these are very relevant questions that come very often from most solar clients. All of them also have technical answers that I am sure most people in the audience today would understand. If it is raining, then yes, the solar generation will go down, but automatically your grid consumption will go up, which means that there won't be any impact on your consumption pattern or on your loads, or on there won't be any stress that is created on your on the various gadgets that you're using. If it happens to be a Sunday when you do not have any electricity consumption, then one of the two things will happen. Either your batteries will get charged in case you have a battery connected system, or the excess electricity will be going back to the grid and you'll get benefit under the net metering policy. Can your solar ACs and your other motors run on a solar system? Yes, they can. Uh, in case it's a non-battery connected system, if it's a battery connected system, then you need to have very large batteries or slow starters. And lastly, won't the panel break if a monkey jumps on the panels? Uh, it has to be a very heavy monkey for it to be able to break the panel, and it has to be a very high jump. The point is that solar panels, when they are producing power, are as it is about 15 degree to 20 degrees Celsius higher temperature than ambient temperature. So monkeys don't really like to sit on these panels. But my point is that all of these have got answers. Those answers become more convincing when you give people case studies, testimonials, and references along with these answers for people to understand. The easiest way to convince someone to go solar is to tell them that your neighbor has already gone solar, he already understands the benefits. If you do not have a neighbor, then at least you can talk about your other clients to be able to easily demonstrate the reliability of the system that you build. At Solar Connect, we have been able to do that by letting people see your verified projects. You can you can make a profile, a solar system installer profile on Solar Connect on easysolar.com, and you could add the various projects that you have already executed. People can click know more to understand more about their projects and to verify your credentials. Just to give you a sneak peek of that, this is how it would typically look. This is a demo installer that we have uploaded all details for. So people can look at your contact details, people can look at your financial turnover, people can look what all services that you give, what all certifications that you have, and then people can also have a look at your verified projects. By giving this information, you are making yourself that much more easily discoverable and that much more easily verifiable. This you could do at solarconnect.egsolar.com by making your own profile. Moving on, the third excuse that people give for not being able to go solar is that going solar is a full time job. It is a complex system which takes a long time to understand and a longer time to execute. Well, there is an element of truth in that selling solar is a 3 to 6 months long cycle. It takes education, it takes clients going to already executed solar sites, it takes site assessments to be done on their rooftops, after which, hopefully, in a competitive race, you would be able to get a contract. This often leads to a catch 22 situation that an installer is not really keen to do all of this investment till the time there's a hard commitment from a rooftop owner to actually go solar. Now, without the estimate, the customer cannot really make a decision, and because of which he becomes further frustrated and does not want to go solar anymore. There are obviously solutions to this as well. A, give unbiased opinions to people. Be transparent about your intentions as well as the expected results. Two, there is no avoiding it. Do the site assessment and give the customer the details in order to get him the confidence of going solar. Again, there is an easier way to do it using Solar Connect, wherein uh, if a customer does approach Easy Solar, then we carry all of this verification on their behalf. We make the energy assessment reports, we make the layout reports, we make the estimated cost of the system, the value of the system, after which a solar installer can anytime get in touch with the lead and close the deal. So the part of 3 to 6 months selling, the part where you had to impart a lot of education, that pain is actually taken away. Let me again give you an example of that. This is the typical. This is the typical. This is the typical view when you arrive at solarconnect.easysolar.com. Now, let me look for a roof location. Let me took a look at roof location anywhere in the country, any project capacity, any project size. These are all the leads which are existingly available on Easy. Sorry, these are all the installers which are existingly available on Easy Solar. Let me look at the leads now. So any address, any capacity, any solar system, and any type of building. So as you can see, there are these couple of leads which are available. If I click no more on any of them, I'm able to get the energy assessment report, the layout report, the details of the building, that how many floors is it, what the kind of system, what are the kind of appliances, and so on. What are even the preferences of the solar system, of the solar roof owner? If I further click the layout, I'm also able to see what the solar system is going to look like. Similarly, I could also download the energy assessment report and so on. If I would be interested in this lead, I could actually view the contact details by paying an X amount and then get in touch with the lead. So, my point is that using Solar Connect, it is possible to remove the first 3 4 months of education that you end up giving to the customer because we try to do that hard work for you. The fourth and the last excuse, which we have different versions, but it's fundamentally the same excuse, is that we should take a call on this next year, which basically means that there is a fundamental inertia in the client to go solar. Some of the excuses are that if the price of the solar is reducing every year, then why to go solar next this year? Why not go it next year? It will lead to a larger saving. Another way of doing it is that we are supposed to change the sheds of the roof next year because they are going to get old. So why not do it when we are going to change sheds anyway? The last, and of course, again, my favorite is that we shall go for it when our neighbor goes for it. Again, all valid reasons, all valid excuses. Some of the possible solutions is number one, let the maths do the talking, which basically means that, as I've given the example on a 250 kilowatt system, losing 1 year means losing 26 lakhs in saving. That is after deduction of the expenses. The cost of the system was 155 lakhs, which means 26 lakhs is approximately 15%. It is unlikely that the cost of the system is going to go down by 15% in the next year. So effectively, you are losing money if you're not going solar now and waiting for the next year. The second is that there are many benefits that are extended by current government which might not exist once solar technology becomes mainstay. An ideal example of that is accelerated depreciation. Accelerated depreciation tax advantage is only there for the solar power plants which are commissioned before March 2017. So, in case you would want to wait for next year and miss that deadline, you might not be able to take that advantage anymore. The last, and there are mixed views about it, if you want to have a declining incentive program. What that means is that you are willing to offer a 62,000 rupees per kilowatt rate in case the project comes to you in the next 1 month, otherwise, the rate goes up to 65. I'm not sure if that works in Indian competitive landscape because I'm sure there's another system installer somewhere in the audience who'll be willing to give it at 60 rupees as well. But you could try your luck. So we believe these are the four excuses and the possible solutions that you could use in order to be able to go to convince people to go solar and become hopefully the installer of choice. As I said, I apologize for the shameless marketing that I have already done for Solar Connect, which was the launch of this service. But if there's any which way that we could help, do let us know. If there's any which way in which we can make the platform better, do let us know. Now, I'm ready for the questions if you have any. There are already a couple of questions which have been given. Let me take one by one. The question is from Akshay Chaturvedi from Jaipur that do we have hybrid inverters of higher capacity? Well, currently we do not have many hybrid inverters which are available in the country and definitely not of higher capacity. So we have got 5 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt, and if I'm not wrong, up to 20, 25 kilowatt hybrid models. My colleague would be very happy to mail across the details of these inverters that we already keep in stock at AZ Solar, so that you could understand the pricing and the features of such an inverter. The next question: could you please assist in getting the net metering in Gujarat by Mr. Parag Vikaria? Uh, as a part of Easy Solar, we have not yet started assisting with people with applications, but sure, why not? Let us give it a shot. There is already a webinar and a blog that we have written on net metering application and the way to go about it. That is easily available on easysolar.com blog. So if you could go through that, that is going to be another. There's a treasure trove of information over there, including how to go about net metering in Gujarat. The next question is that do we have any Gujarat government subsidy available? To the best of my knowledge, there is no Gujarat government subsidy available on rooftop solar power plants. The next question is from Mr. Pratik that rooftop target has actually been anticipated to be reduced to 20 gigawatt by MNRE. Last week, Solar Park Phase 2 launch declared the same. I'm sorry, I might be unaware about this, but the presentation that I showed, the target of 40 gigawatt out of 100 gigawatt was actually a slide taken from SECI presentation not too far back. So even if there was a target reduced, maybe that presentation was not updated. But let me look at it logically as well. Going by the huge tenders that have come out, 1.5 gigawatt of tenders of rooftop solar alone have been given out by various agencies in the last 2 months alone. So I do believe that there is a significant acceleration that is coming up. Worst case scenario, in a 20 gigawatt policy, we'll end up with a market which is about 13,000 crores every year. Not as large as 25,000, but I guess large enough for all of us. The next question is Mr. Hiren. What is the preferential lending rate from MNRE? I'm afraid MNRE does not give any preferential lending rate. The preferential lending rate is given by lending institutions. So there was an amendment to the act according to which solar as a category was included in preferential lending rate mechanism. Utility scale power plants, if I'm not wrong, up to 10 crores, and rooftop solar power plants of a smaller size, if I'm not wrong, about 2 lakhs of investment are covered under the preferential lending rate. This is easily available online. You could also have a look. The question is that up to what size is the EMI available from Easy Solar? There is no cap on maximum size, but there is a cap on the minimum size. So the investment needs to be at least about 5,000 rupees ordered online for you to be able to order solar, you to be able to get EMI. In certain cases, with certain banks, the it starts from even 500 rupees. Moving on. UTL is a brand of supplier. Mr. Amit has asked this question. UTL is saying that its PCU needs 30% less solar panels compared to other PCU. How can that be possible? Is there any company who's making these kind of PCUs? Uh, so if I go by the physics of solar, it's the number of solar panels which determine how much generation is it going to give, and the PCU or the inverter effectively determines the efficiency of conversion from DC to AC. Uh, my point over here is that I do not think that a PCU would be able to ensure a 30% higher generation. Are there any, again from Mr. Amit, are there any detailed practical case studies from which we can get detailed education, site visit data, site assessments, and installation drawings? Um, there are quite a few details that we have already uploaded on our website on easysolar.com. You could go through those in order to find out quite a lot of different examples of layouts uh, energy assessment reports. You could also look at detailed engineering drawings on our website. Lastly, if you would want to get into more detail of how to draft a contract or how to what are the key impacts of what are the key things that a lending institution looks at while giving you finance and such information, then I suggest that you could look at a YouTube channel, or you could also look at our blog, which is frequently updated for these kind of information. Uh, Mr. Hiren has again asked, is NetMeter installed anywhere in Gujarat? I haven't yet started installing it, so I'm not aware. But the application process was thrown open about 6 odd months back. Mr. Suresh Kumar has given a very important input. You have shown that the saving of 22 to 23% because of accelerated depreciation, but it works out to be actually 26.7% in the first year itself. To an extent, that is correct. I'm not sure if everybody is able to hear me. My colleague here says that I'm not that audible. I'll just give it a pause for 1 minute for the systems to resume back before people can hear me well. Just be patient for another 10-15 seconds, please. I think now my voice is audible again. So, yes, the accelerated depreciation savings are actually 26.7% in the first year itself. However, what we need to consider is also the fact that the normal depreciation in any case is also going to be there. So an accelerated depreciation basically prepones the depreciation, because of which there's a saving upfront at the cost of the saving which was supposed to happen later on. But yes, the savings are actually to the extent of 27% in the first year. Mr. Debrat Mishra has said that, what are the existing technologies for storage and what is the future of storage? Can we be able to make this energy into a commodity which will be available 24/7? Well, I like your optimism, sir, but currently in India, we mostly have lead acid batteries for storage, which I do not think would be usable on a 24/7 basis. However, gradually we are all shifting to lithium-ion batteries, as you could see from global technology providers like Tesla batteries, like there's uh, I'm forgetting the name, but there's an equally large company based in Germany which is provider of such batteries. BYD in China is supplying these batteries. Sooner than later, we are going to have significant participation of storage in the grid as well, when a solar will be able to power a system 24 into 7. This can also Early signs of this can also be seen from the tender which was released by one of NTPC or SECI, which mandated that out of 100 megawatts to be set up, 5 megawatts actually need to come up on storage. Mr. Sanket has asked that please do share the source of accelerated depreciation benefit, which is going to be abolished by 2017. I'll be happy to share that, sir. This was, I think, a part of the current budget as well. Maybe we can take this offline. I'll already have your email ID. I'll send across the source. Ms. Priyanka has asked that by what rate the price of solar panels might go down as per the trend. There are various conspiracy theories around it, and it's easy to make a trend analysis and just extrapolate the line to say that the solar panels are going to go down at an astronomical rate. But more educated guesses is that the CTO of Post Solar last year had claimed that by 2017 they're expecting the cost of a solar panel to come down by as much to 40 cents per watt peak. Currently, on large megawatt scale projects, it's in the range of about 45 to 47 cents, 45 to 47 dollar cents per watt peak. You could multiply it by the current going rate to understand the approximate range. But broadly, this comes to about 30,000 rupees per kilowatt. However, the delivered cost to you on a rooftop solar power plant today would be in the range of about 35,000 rupees per kilowatt, which you could buy at Easy Solar as well. What you would also need to understand is that in the past, the cost of solar panels have declined very significantly for two good reasons. One is that in the last 8 years, the cost of silicon, which is the raw material of these solar panels, has gone down by as much as 93%. So from a cost of $400 a kg, it has gone down to about $25 a kg. So that large reduction was passed on to the solar industry as well. The second reason was that in the recession of 2010, 2011, 2012, there were lots of bankruptcies that happened. As a result, there was a lot of overcapacity already present in the solar market. Uh, and because of that overcapacity, people sold modules at a loss. So that's why that was another reason for the huge decline in prices of solar modules. Now, considering that solar silicon, which accounted for the maximum cost in a solar panel, has already gone down by such a large extent, a further 50% reduction in that cost is also not going to lead to proportionate reductions like we had in the earlier years. The rest of the components, whether that be the aluminum railing or other components, are mostly commodities in nature, which might not go down by as high a rate as the cost of silicon has. So, in short, do not expect the same astronomical decrease in pricing. But if I am to go by the leading technical experts in the industry, you could expect about a 40 cent or roughly about 28 or thousand rupees per kilowatt panel cost going forward next year onwards. Mr. Rangarajan has asked what are the supply chain assistance available in India. I'm not very sure if I understand this very well, but what I would want to imagine is that you are asking that if you want to get panels or if you want to get structures or if you want to get inverters, is there enough logistic support available? Either that, or probably you are asking that are there enough equipment suppliers available? If the question is are there any enough equipment suppliers available, then definitely yes. There are about 200 odd equipment suppliers in solar which are listed on Easy Solar alone, and the market I am sure has more than 5,000 suppliers of all kinds of equipments, right from modules, inverters, structures, cables, junction boxes, earthing equipment, lightning arresters, everything. The interesting thing over here is that it's only the module and inverter which is specific to solar. Rest everything is used in any building. So there are not specific suppliers that you need for them. In terms of logistics as well, I would say that India currently does not have a very large logistics network, but the for solar is specific transportation. But I guess the normal network works well with better packaging over here also. In case of equipments ordered from Easy Solar across the 200 odd vendors that we have, we give surface transport, which is 100% insured to our customers, and we give a landed cost of products and a possibility of return in case anything is damaged. Any subsidies from Maharashtra government? I'm afraid again I'm not aware of any subsidies from Maharashtra government. This is the question by Mr. Sagar. The government will. I think the subsidies that are available currently are only from the central government. There are, however, other kinds of subsidies which are given, not capital subsidy, which is not a discount on the system cost, but you might be able to get subsidies in terms of having no tax in selling solar products in the state of Maharashtra, and so on. So there'll be different kinds of subsidies, but not capital subsidy, which is available in Maharashtra. Next question is with Mr. Shashank. What will happen on Sundays if net metering and load both are not available? Well, in that case, technically speaking, what you would have to do is that the solar energy that you feed, the energy is getting produced anyway, right? So the solar energy will find its way to the least resistance. In case there is no load available, it will end up going into the grid, unless you have an arrangement from stopping it from going into the grid. Now, there are two kinds of meters which are available. One kind of meter, in case you do not have net metering, that is, one kind of meter allows you to send that power back to the grid without any increase or decrease in the meter reading. And the other meter has a problem, which is that in case you send the electricity back into the grid, even then the meter reading actually increases. So you need to actually figure it out which meter do you have in case you are having the second meter in which On a Sunday, if your load is not there and net metering is not there and you're pushing the electricity back into the grid, the meter is actually showing a higher reading, then in that case, you need to coordinate with the distribution company to have that meter replaced with one that doesn't increase the reading. There are about another 20 other questions which I could go on with. What I would request is probably if we could drop me an email with the rest of the questions, and we could take it up from there. As I said, I'm also available on the phone numbers. You could also get in touch with my colleague Siddharth Gupta if you have any kind of inquiries on any of our products or services. As I said, Solar Cart, Solar Design, and Solar Connect. All three services are available online. Please do me a favor and try check them out. Do let us know of your feedback if we are able to add significant value. Thanks a lot.